Well, howdy, folks. This is Portland Stew here with Rose City Sorcery doing some commentary on a recent two-headed dragon game played at the FAB Foundry here in Portland, Oregon. FAB Foundry hosted a cool little two-headed dragon event, and we're going to get to see some real Twin Dragon gameplay. For those of you who don't know, Two-Headed Dragon is a custom format where two players play on a team, they share life total, and they take their turns together. There's a few other, like when you hit 15 life, that's your new maximum life total is one of the other little changes to the rules. And aside from that, it's basically a good old game of sorcery. Here we see on the top Darian and Jazzy playing on a team. Jessy's playing the Seer in the top left, and Darian's playing the Battle Mage. Seer taking his extra scry at the start of his first turn, and then on the bottom we've got Sam, who you probably recognize as the host of this channel, playing alongside Eric, and I believe Sam is playing the Geomancer and Eric's playing the Enchantress. So in the top we have the Seer Battle Mage team dropping a pair of what are those, Joyous Guards. So that's a fun little synchronized move there. This will be an interesting match. I've not pre-watched it. Just looking at the avatars, each side has one card advantage avatar and sort of one special ability avatar. So that'll be interesting. The Geomancer with the rubble and getting its sights out faster, the Geomancer might be able to build that land bridge, which is one interesting feature of this format. Is once your sights connect to your ally, your partner's sights, then you can cast minions to each other's sights. But until your sights are touching, you can only cast minions to your own sights. So we see the Seer dropping a Tufted Turtle. This looks to me like the Seer deck is probably one of these very similar to the really popular Spellslinger deck that's come out lately. Water decks designed to sort of ramp up to big powerful minions quickly, and using the scry ability to really high grade your units. Look at this, synchronized sights again. Our team bottom drops Gnome Hollows on both sides, so Gnome Hollows will prevent minions with 3 or more power from entering them. Meanwhile, the Enchantress drops a Sleep on the Tufted Turtle. So that's an interesting card to play at this point. Sleep, for those who don't know, basically disables target minion up to 2 steps away until it takes damage. Which is especially interesting with Tufted Turtle since its first instance of damage is prevented, so although I guess it's disabled, so that wouldn't affect. So it's still, as soon as it gets hit with any damage, will undisable. So we're getting out to the third site, a Tadpool pool. I'd be willing to bet this Seer deck is playing the Narcotic Manuscript. Those extra frogs and the Tufted Turtles are both great cards for using the manuscript. Meanwhile, the Battle Mage dropping, what a good boy, a good doggy, Cerberus in Chains, a 5 power minion that must be cast to your avatar and sort of stays with your avatar as you move around the realm. Interestingly, the Geomancer forgot to get his extra rubble when he played the Gnome Hollows, or maybe he chose not to, but there really should actually be 2 rubbles generated by the Geomancer's ability at this point. A Troll Bridge. This Enchantress is clearly a very control-leaning Enchantress, seeing Sleep played, the Troll Bridge, and the Gnome Hollows. Meanwhile, the Geomancer drops a Valley of Delight. Must have called Earth because he now summoned that rubble, which he could have gotten off of the Gnome Hollows. So a slow start to this game, but the Battle Mage is starting to build up and look scary. Oh, we get a Vanguard Knights. That's one you don't see very often. Vanguard Knights is more powerful when it's the most forward unit. Gains +2 power whenever it's the furthest forward. Meanwhile, an Angel's Egg gets dropped. Healing in this format, I mean, healing is very strong in Sorcery in general, but especially in Double-Headed Dragon, that healing is going to make a big difference. But no auras yet from our Enchantress player. Is interesting. It looks like we're passing turn over to the Battle Seer team. That's what we'll call them. The Battle Seer and the Enchantomancer. And this Battle Mage deck looks to just be a pure Fire Air Battle Mage, which is, I mean, a not unpopular combo for Battle Mage, and we see now that the land bridge has been made, that beacon gets dropped, producing an extra mana because there's a nearby enemy atop a nearby site. So Battle Mage has 5 per turn and is pondering dropping a vampire. Oh my gosh, you can hear in the background the Enchantomancer team saying, oh Jesus, 2 vampires hit the table. Oh, because Jesse hit a tower too, so they both had 5 per turn. That's a big turn, and this game was played before the recent changes that the most recent rules update. Vampire was updated so that it only gains life when striking units. Currently, though, when this game was played, Vampire can still gain life by striking sites. So we'll see if they have answers to these big new threats on the board. And we can see, yeah, Eric and Sam are consulting on cards here, and this is one of the fun parts of Two-Headed Dragon is, you're showing your cards to each other, sort of being like, well, if I do this, and you do that, or no, maybe I'll do this and you do that, which is also hilarious when you're the opponent, because you're sort of watching them process their options in real time. No damage yet on the board, but letting the vampires hang around isn't great, although since you haven't done much damage yet, the players probably, the vampire's upside isn't going to make a huge difference yet, but you still don't want 4-power flyers running around wreaking havoc. The Pebbled Path is dropped, so now the land bridge is complete. So both teams have the ability to summon to each other's sites. Geomancer hasn't tapped for his ability on turn yet. So we'll see. I'm sure he'll fill a rubble at some point, but I think maybe the classic move for good players is to attack before you play your site to sort of figure out how your opponent will respond. I think they're debating whether Eric, the Enchantress player, can cast Trinket into the valley, which he can. because now the sights are connected, so you can cast it to the sight, even though you couldn't cast it into the hands. Then he can pick it up, and now he's swinging in with the Bannerman for 5 damage. So if a vampire blocks, a vampire dies. So I don't think we're going to see a block here. They're going to just try and heal up for the damage. Yep. So they take the 5 damage from the House Iron Bannerman. Geomancer drops a Root Spider. So at this point, the vampires don't have a lot of appealing sites to move to. The Gnome Hollows can't be entered. Air was called on this new valley, so now Geomancer's used 3 mana, has 1 left available. Oh, and Tithes! You don't see that very often. Draws 3 sites with Tithe. Yeah. And I'd be willing to bet the House Arm Bannerman's not long for this world. Both of these players are playing air, so there's a high chance of a grapple shot even being able to kill the Bannerman without losing a vampire. But we'll see. Yeah, and we hear the players trying to come up with a way to not just let their opponent heal back up to a full tank immediately. Nice, and so the Enchantress drops an Iron Shackles, and you hear him explaining how now at least they can only heal back up to 29. And that I think makes some sense. It's really funny. Eric here, also known locally as Bubble Trouser, is most well known in our local scene for playing a Battle Mage deck, and even at many events he plays a 0 minion Battle Mage deck. So I think he's a real lover of the disable cards. He usually plays Water, Air, Battle Mage. So Iron Shackles and Sleep are kind of signature cards for that player. It's interesting to see them here in this Enchantress deck. I mean, they're good cards, and clearly he's trying to lean into a more control-oriented Enchantress. So meanwhile, we pass back over to the Battle Seer team. Jesse on Seer gets to drop his Troll Bridge forward. So that's a little painful for the Enchantress. Although, so far we've got a great brick of sites that the Enchantress can take advantage of in the middle of the board, but you'll notice that neither of the Battle Seer players have played a second site on their back line, which is quite reasonable against Enchantress, because it prevents animated auras from being able to move onto your back line. And so that's a common move. Playing the Troll Bridge out to the side instead would also be reasonable to try and build towards making a little M, which can also sort of get your site count up, but still prevent allowing auras to hit your avatar's location. Plague of Frogs drops, so we're seeing a bunch of frogs hit the board. It looked like the players were discussing options, and we see the frogs trying to swim underneath the tower, but there's no water down there for the frogs to submerge in. So Eric catching that and calling Jesse out on it. So So we see one frog on the surface and the rest submerging across a bunch of sites. Very defensive posture from the seer here. I really suspect this deck just wants to play defensive and then build into a big drop. I bet we're going to see some big drops later in the game from the seer. Jesse considering other options for summoning location. Meanwhile, the Battle Mage moves forward, and so it begins. Disenchant dropped on the Iron Shackles, which hurts, but the Enchantress might be a little happy about that. To see the Disenchant used this early means your auras will be a little safer. A vampire swings in for an 8-point life swing from the Enchantomancer and 4 gained by the Battle Seer. And Eric and Sam are discussing some site placement options. And so the Enchantress is sort of saying, asking the Geomancer to save some site locations for him. That's a lot of damage in from the vampires. The spider will be able to move over and disable one of those vampires on the next turn. Angel's Egg heals them up, and we start the Enchantomancer turn. I'd say that these guys are on the back foot a little, but I can see some answers in hand. It looks like we caught a brief glimpse of an entangled terrain in Eric's hand. And I think I see an earthquake in Sam's hand, so I think they're discussing which powerful response to use. Now the Troll Bridge protects the left vampire from an earthquake, so that's the downside to trying using earthquake to clear. They do still have their trinket option, so the Bannerman could trinket and trade with the Cerberus Unchained, or Cerberus in Chains. Cerberus Unchained, that's always the dream, which is possible. I think if you grapple shot Cerberus, you can get him, or maybe grapple shot can't, but blink can. There's a few unique ways to liberate Cerberus from his chains, and then you get a 5-power minion out in the world. But it's tough, because he's not allowed to ever move himself away from the avatar, and he gets moved automatically with the avatar when the avatar moves. So really an ideal minion for a Battle Mage deck. I gotta get me one of those. I've been playing some Battle Mage lately. It's a real fun avatar. See, Enchantress taps for a sight. These guys prepping hard for trying to swing out some things. Goes for the flip. Gets a Wizard Den. That's a great site to hit on the flip. Although he might need... I wonder if he's short on Threshold. He only has 1 air threshold currently. So it's a tough call. I'm expecting to see the Root Spider move over, but especially because that River of Flame is sitting up there. And River of Flame, one of the great counters to Root Spider, because River of Flame is a site, it occupies the surface and the subsurface. So River of Flame, as a fire spellcaster that's in the underground region, can actually target Root Spiders that are within range of it because it can cast in the underground. See a root spider and an entangled terrain. And if he casts a trinket, he can wake up the entangled terrain. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, he wants to cast the trinket into the bannerman's hands, but you can't cast artifacts into other people's minions' hands. You could only cast it onto a site controlled by him or his ally. So yeah, he just casts the trinket to animate the terrain. Cracking a joke about just playing a trinket to tease the vampire, and he better hope there's not a trinket in Jesse's hand, because otherwise this entangled terrain has effectively locked down the vampire. Ooh, Vivian the Enchantress. Angel's Egg heals a life. Yeah, it looks like we actually missed a life. Oh no, I think that's right. Because they got knocked down to 22, so they'd be at 24. So we're at the right life totals. It's so hard to keep track of Angel's Egg. One of those cards that, it just leads to many minor misplays where you just forget to tick the Angel's Egg at end of turn, or you're asking, did I tick the Angel's Egg this turn? Maybe that's an idea, like putting an indicator at the start of each turn or something to remind you. I don't know. I've been messing around with Angel's Egg in my Battle Mage deck, and it's hard to remember to get the healing ticks, and it's quite a frustrating card. I had an interesting conversation with someone lately about whether Angel's Egg or Divine Healing is a bigger menace in Archimago. I kind of find Angel's Egg worse, just because of that. It just sits there and gains value forever, though I think a good case could be made for Divine Healing doing more quicker. He's not going to block with the entangled terrain? That seems... I assumed he animated the entangled terrain to block. Maybe we're waiting on that call. So the Black Plague got played. The Black Plague will destroy the weakest minion on its site. So that will kill the Root Spider at the end of turn. Battle Mage plays a site and summons a lance, it looks like. Yep, pays 1 to get the lance. I guess he decides not to block with the entangled terrain. It's kind of a big brain play. Animates it to threaten that it can block and kill the vampire, but it's not going to do it. The beauty of entangled terrain is it removes airborne from the affected units, which means that on the next turn, Eric can easily drop a trinket on the entangled terrain and just kill the vampire. Yeah, and we can hear the players are sort of discussing the fine points of how Cerberus functions. Lightning bolts the Vivian. It's always too bad to see your Vivian go, but you drew out the lightning bolt. water spider killed by the Black Plague at end of turn, and we're back on the Enchantomancer. The Enchantomancer's got a lot of options this turn. Interestingly, if Enchantomancer can cast 2 spells, animating the Black Plague is an option for him. So Black Plague is a 4 cost, so the Bannerman. Yeah, and then they're discussing Jesse wanted to surface a frog but can't because of the entangled terrain. And yeah, so this is. Yeah, they've got. You can see them discussing their options for turn. The trinket can be used to kill the vampire. And they're clarifying that entangled terrain removes airborne as well. So you hear Eric and Sam in the background saying, okay, you do that, I'll do this. Sounds like they got answers to minions.
I'm going to strike the vampire.
The other vampire technically could move to defend. I don't know if they would want to. Yeah, they're discussing now if they want to have the Battle Mage's vampire step in to take the damage. It seems a little silly because the vampire that is trapped by the entangled terrain would then just die to the entangled terrain the next turn. But they probably overheard Sam and Eric saying, you do that and I'll do this. So maybe they're thinking, well, we know they have an answer to our other vampire. Maybe we move it. So I'm sure they're pondering those options. Despite the health differential, this game feels very neck and neck. The board is so, both sides have threats and moves to make. Looks like they're going to sack the vampire. Oh, I think Jesse just pointed out, oh wait, but then next turn it'll get killed anyways thing that we were just discussing. So Jesse's vampire dies. Sam just attacks the site for 4 to see.
Oh, okay. I could do that here if you wanted, because the mid-roll, those guys are old. They can't move, but okay.
The grapple shots after attacking. Now we've cleared the threat. Did 4 to face. And no healing, thanks to grapple shot being a strike, not a fight. The pebbled path dropped on the back line. It's interesting. I guess he just wants, because the battle mage currently can't enter the gnome hollows, so by not playing a site forward here, Sam gives less vectors for the battle mage to try and get onto his side of the board.
This is immobile. Does the automatic movement override? So he would go either way.
So they're discussing the fine points of forced movement. see a steed, phantom steed played. It has +2 movement and can carry, I think, any allied units. Oh, any allied minion. So I think this is probably a slight misplay, thinking that the phantom steed can be used to carry the avatar, when in fact you can only carry minions with the phantom steed. But maybe just wants to play it back so that he can, keep it out of range of attacks, and then with its +2 movement, it's got lots of places it can still go on the next turn. You see them cleaning up here. That was a big swing for Team Enchantomancer. Cleared the vampires off the board. The entangled. So I can see them. It looks like they're gesturing about a gigantism in Eric's hand. And something in Sam's hand looked maybe like a grapple shot. They're sort of trying to do some calculations to figure out a way to knock the Battle Seer down to 15 life. That's your first big goal in Two-Headed Dragon, because once you cross that 15 life threshold, your opponent can never go back above 15 life, so that is really pivotal in this format. And if one team can sort of take that position, it puts them at a serious advantage. See a foil island Leviathan hit the table. So yeah, they're counting the threshold. They're at 5 water threshold now. Jesse is. Island Leviathan, once you have 8 total water threshold, you can choose to transform the site into an 8 power minion. I think that's, yeah. Yep. Grapple shots across to hit the entangled terrain, and then swings in. Oh, and this is an interesting one. Yeah, because Cerberus is pulled along with the Battle Mage, when the Battle Mage attacks into the Troll Bridge, it's not entering alone. So we can see them debating this ruling, and I don't know off the top of my head which is right. Cerberus in Chains automatically follows you and can't move itself away. So the text, the FAQ on Cerberus in Chains reads, whenever your avatar enters a new location, Cerberus in Chains teleports to that location. My reading of that would be that that the Battle Mage would in fact enter the Troll Bridge alone, like that these are sequential events, not simultaneous. But that'll be an interesting one to look up later. But either way, Battle Mage is swinging in for 3 plus Cerberus for 5. Did 8 damage. And then with a trinket is actually 9 damage. So That knocks Team Enchantomancer down to 13, and Hounds of Onderos gets dropped by Jazzy on the Troll Bridge in the left. So in a big turn, we're hitting the min game for sure now. We're seeing both sides starting to make big plays, but Enchantomancer being below the 15 threshold first definitely puts Team Battleseer in the lead. The Black Plague at end of turn cleared out the House Armed Bannerman. Without another minion underneath it, it will dissipate next turn. And so I think Eric's sort of asking the Geomancer to put a sight underneath the Entangle terrain to enable Entangle terrain to move. So we'll see what they're building up to. They're definitely discussing their options. We know they're going to try and hit for a minimum of 11 damage, I think, is their goal to break that 15 damage threshold. But it looks tough right now with the known trinket in hand. 9, 13. They know that Team Battleseer has at least 13 damage of potential on the board for next turn. That frog surfacing is also a big indication that maybe a shapeshift is coming. Can't think of many other reasons you would surface a single frog. So there's a lot of potential for big damage next turn. We'll see what Enchantomancer can come up with to answer all these threats. Yeah, Cerberus making it onto the site. I do think we had a small misplay there with the Troll Bridge, but hard to say for sure how that works exactly. And we hear them discussing their plan being to throw a Hail Mary. So I see a trinket animate. Yeah, and he's picking up the lance as well, and we're still playing in the old rules in this game, so if lance strikes a site, you get the bonus damage and the lance breaks. That's another one of those recent changes where now in the new rules, if you strike a site while holding a lance, the lance won't break and won't give you a bonus. So yeah, they're discussing whether it's against, the Gnome Hollows doesn't allow minions to enter with more than 3 power, but animating an aura isn't entering. So that's 6 plus 6 is 12 damage. destroys the lance and evens out the life totals. That seems like probably all that the Enchantress player, Eric, can do this turn. Oh, so he's got to go. Ooh. So, yeah, uses the steed. Has to move into the Black Plague's aura, but hits for another 8 damage.
Oh, that's not flying. I'm sorry.
Knocks them down to 6. That's 4 spent by the Geomancer, so we've got 3 left. I'm sure they would love to find a way to door here, but doesn't look. Looks like it'll be hard to pull off. We'll see. Ah, great move. Drops the kettle top. Doesn't seem like a giant play, but having a blocker over there right now is going to make a big difference with so much damage coming their way. If they can stay off of Death's Door,
Yeah, so gain a life. The egg is
and is that the last turn on the Entangle? I think he must have already ticked the dice for turn. I kind of lost count. So I think he gets one more turn on that Entangle terrain. That's pretty good. I mean, with the trinket, there's 5 damage on board. So if they can come up with 1 more damage than what they have on board right now, they can door, the Enchantomancer can door the Battle Seer next turn. One of the fine points I didn't discuss earlier on in Two-Headed Dragon, so once you hit Death's Door, you hit Death's Door together, both players have to be dealt the death blow, and once your avatar has been dealt a death's blow, you cease drawing cards, but you still can play cards and take your turn. Crowns the Battle Mage. That's Crown and Trinket puts Battle Mage to 7, plus 5 from the Cerberus is 12 damage the Battle Mage can put on the board pretty easily. He's gonna swing. Yeah, the kettle top can block. So you see them there. They roll that back. They say, "Oh wait, we don't want to attack yet." You see surfacing a frog, and we caught a brief glimpse of an Atlantean fate in Jesse's hand. What did he? How is he moving? Oh, Snowball. Uses the Snowball. That's a great card here. Now they've got the door easy. I think they Snowball for 3 damage. And yep, that's an easy door. So Battle Seer wins the race to door an opponent. And the Tufted Turtle would be dead. I think that's a misplay. It's still disabled when the Snowball resolves. So yeah, the Tufted Turtle would have died because it wouldn't have its ability to prevent damage. And and we see him trying to swim underneath a tower again. Remembering, oh yeah, tower's not water. And moving some frogs around. I really thought the initial frog surface would be for a shapeshift, but it also might just be to get in position for better blocking potential. And that's they end their turn and the steed dies. So now Team Enchantomancer. Yeah. Yeah, so they're doing, that's an interesting, so it looks like Eric likes to do the tick for a turn count at the beginning of turn with his auras. So Tangle Terrain's on its last turn on the board. They don't really have options for dooring, but in terms of protection, it looks like Enchantress doesn't have many options for getting away. Although this is smart, so Enchantress is gonna move to the Gnome Hollows. He's gonna wait until he does some more things first to do it. But that'll be good. That means only the tufted turtle would be able to hit it. So Gnome Hollow is a great site for staying alive when you're at death's door. But I also don't know that he has a blocker he can play. Oh, another Wizard's Den. That's a good card to hit right now. And if Sam's got a blocker he could back up the Enchantress with. We hear the players joking about making a judge call. Yeah. So we see the Enchantress moves to get out of the way. Looks like he's got an aura in hand he's considering playing. Now we did see that Atlantean Fate last turn in Jesse's hand, so that's a nice tool for disabling the Gnome Hollow's abilities, but it will also submerge the minions, so sleeps the turtle again. Which the turtle I think should be dead, but that's okay. You know, this is especially when you get into 4 players on one board, catching all of the fine points of interactions gets real tough in this game. A big shout out, just while they're thinking, to the Beasts of the Bay, San Francisco area based group that does old school magic and sorcery. They kind of invented and upkeep the two-headed dragon format, and this playmat, I believe, is a playmat from them for playing two-headed dragon. So of course you can always just combine 2 regular playmats if you want to play some two-headed dragon and you don't have the official playmat. Shield Maiden, Royal Bodyguard. So that Geomancer is not going to make it easy to kill. Hits for 5. They don't have the 1 more damage. That's rough. So it looks like they're not going to be able to pull off the Death's Door. But they've... Looks like Eric's debating where to play a Mariner's Curse. Mariner's Curse is a 3-cost aura that when a minion enters a site affected by Mariner's Curse, it gets submerged. The Mariner's Curse bounces to hand. So
Yeah, you've got one or two.
I wonder if they're discussing if unsubmerging the frogs counts as entering.
I think so. So these couple. Oops, so sorry.
We played this. It's not animated.
It's not animated.
So got the Battle Seer down to 1 life. The Death's Door dance has begun, and we'll see. We'll see what the Battle Seer can pull off now. There's definitely some complications on the board. The Seer continuing to use its Seer ability. Oh, decides to keep a card. Nope. He's debating whether or not to keep the top card of his spellbook or bottom it. Seer, a really great avatar for these style decks where you just have a lot of different answers, right? Seer, you get to find the answer you're looking for. The downside, of course, being there's no card advantage engine inherent to the Seer like there is in some other avatars. But this game is still anyone's game. It'll be hard to get a death blow on both of the avatars for the Enchantomancer team. I just heard Jesse say, "Oh, we're going to take a chance with Riptide." So he uses the frog to sort of intentionally trigger the Mariner's Curse to get it off the board. And submerging a frog doesn't kill it, which is great for the frog. Often Mariner's Curse is effectively a kill spell if you can force movement, or if your opponent just, sometimes has to just sacrifice a minion into the Mariner's Curse to get it out of the way. They're trying to break through your lines. So Seer moves forward and he snowballs. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minions. That'll be enough to clear. Interesting. So the Gnome Hollows prevents the Battle Mage and Cerberus from entering. And they're sort of discussing if the Snowball, since it loses some of its minions, if it still does full damage. Yeah, so I think that... Yeah, this is an interesting... So the snowball reads, when it stops, units there take damage equal to the number of units in the snowball. So I think the snowball would not have actually worked the way they played it. It looks to me like that was a slight misplay. But it makes sense to read it that way. And I could be wrong about that. Maybe it's the total number that were ever in the snowball, even if some of them leave the snowball. It looks like Sam just put a marker over his avatar. Oh, because Battle Mage moved forward and cast magic missiles to deal the death blow to the Geomancer. So Geomancer untaps. He does not get to draw a card anymore, but he still has full access to playing the cards in his hand. And having played that Tithe earlier too, he's got Sights. Black Flag's gone now. So the Enchantress has enemies on all sides. I think they just pointed out that he untaps the Cerberus because he didn't attack with the Cerberus. It just got moved with the Battle Mage when the Battle Mage moved. Okay, buries Cerberus, and that is a air site, so that's totally legal. And now he can actually use his dead Geomancer, the zombie Geomancer, and the spirit of Gothic attacks the Battle Mage to door the opponent's team. And since the Geomancer's already dead, he can't get more dead. But the team Enchantomancer has now doored the Battleseer. The Geomancer is completely dead, so Enchantress is one hit away from dying. I wonder if the Seer has a direct damage spell in hand. It seems risky to have launched the Snowball if you didn't have another direct damage in hand. But maybe he felt he had to because of all the defensive power that the Shield Maidens and Royal Bodyguard had to offer. And looks like they're passing turn, which makes sense. And once you've Death Doored, there's not a lot more you can do. You can't deal a death blow on that turn. So we'll see if the Battleseer can close it out now. That Battle Mage is pretty far away from the action over there. It'll be a long walk to try and get back to where the Enchantress is, and the Gnome Hollows would block Battle Mage from being able to get there. Though I still think we saw the Atlantean Fate, which could always be used to disable the Gnome Hollows. And Hounds of Onderos has the Submerge ability. Okay, so we hear... So he just drops the trinket on the troll bridge. Frog picks up a trinket and can attack onto the Gnome Hollow for the final death blow, killing the Enchantress. There's a snowball too, so they had a few different ways to close it out. Team Battleseer taking that game against the Enchantomancer, but a really interesting game. We see at the end Sam was sitting on 2 earthquakes, kind of sitting useless in the hand because there was a little too much water on the board to use them. Which, you know, the format of this tournament was not teams, right? You would come in with your deck, and every round you'd get randomly paired, well, not randomly, but paired with another player to play in the Two-Headed Dragon. So these decks were not designed to work together. Which, if the format continues to grow, maybe we'll see that take off more. So now the players are sort of just debriefing the game But really cool game. So exciting to see this two-headed dragon gameplay. I was planning to go to this event and ended up not being able to go at the last second. So really grateful to Sam and Rose City Sorcery for giving me the honor and the privilege of commentating this exciting game. Really could have been anyone's game there. That turn where they were one damage short of dooring their opponents, I think, was a tough one for the Enchantomancer. A couple misplays, but totally understandable. I definitely don't think they were hugely game-changing, but good things to look up after this. The Tufted Turtle being asleep when it was snowballed, I think, would have died in the snowball, and the snowball dropping two of its passengers because of a gnome hollow, I think, would have reduced the snowball's damage when it hit the final location. So for those of you like me who are rules nuts and want a fun quest to go on, I won't look it up now and tell you the answer, and I'll let you seek it out on your own. But yeah, thanks to Rose City Sorcery and to FAB Foundry, FAB Foundry for hosting this event. So cool, really fun to do something like this in the final weeks of pre-Gothic Sorcery, and can't wait to play Gothic with everyone and see what that craziness brings. So, catch you on the flip side, and happy spellcasting, folks.